Okay, so while I'm doing this shower, this remodeling, I'm gonna stop and make a video about the shower base. What you see here is an enclosure, an area where I'm gonna put the shower, and used to be another type of shower. So first of all, you wanna make sure that you have the right drain on the floor. This drain is composed with the three parts, which is the base that is attached to the trap, the other piece that will be like a flange that will sandwich the shower, the waterproofing shower pan, and then the drain itself or the finish that is going to be screwed there to the height that we want. Now, when you're working on this, you want to make sure that first of all your boards are nice and fastened to the wall, to the floors, to the joists. So you don't want to have stuff that are kind of bouncing. The first thing is that. Second thing is that you have to remember that we want to make sure that we can actually direct the water towards the drain, even under the concrete. So that means that there's something called pre-sloping, and pre-sloping is the act of creating some sort of concave environment where the shower pan is going to sit on before you make your concrete bed. So we're going to have some concrete placed over here. You want to make sure that you clean everything really well. Then we start with the pre-sloping. So after that, we're going to put the shower pan and then the bed of, the concrete bed. So let's continue. The floor is, is in this case fairly leveled, but it's not going to be always the case. So you want to make sure that you compensate those areas really well. So what I did around, if you notice that little line, is about a half-inch line that I did all around the perimeter. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give a half-inch to 0 inclination towards the drain before I put the shower pan. That will be our pre-slope. So I want to make sure that I do all the stuff correctly. I'm using a mortar bed, which is, sand topping mix already pre-made bags. And, you can probably make your own mixture by using regular sand and like 4 parts of sand and 1 part of cement. That will give you the same consistency. So, okay, so let's continue with that. I'm going to use some tools like this squeegee and that one to kind of level all that area around with. You can see now that we have an inclination towards the drain. This is the pre-slope. So you want to make sure that you have that nice and straight and level and cleaned up. This mixture has to be, not too dry, but enough so you can actually, work with it and just give it a nice form. So it has a nice inclination. The next thing that we're going to do is to install the waterproofing membrane on top of that, and now we are sure that even if the water falls inside there, it's going to keep draining towards the middle of the drain. Of the shower base. The installation of this shower pan is really critical. Obviously, start from the center, and leave some of the pan itself of the PVC liner up on the wall. At least I will say like 6 inches, 7 inches. You want to make sure that you make a nice enclosure there for the water not to spill. Now in the edges over there, if you notice, I have that folding thing on the side on the 2x4, and the reason is that you don't want to have a lot of accumulation of that material on the wall, because your concrete walls or your concrete boards are not going to go straight on the bottom. They're going to have a turn, so sometimes it's really uncomfortable and it doesn't look as appropriate. So you want to make sure here, I'm going to put a little patch afterwards. I'm going to put a little patch of the same material with the glue that is designed for this material. So I want to make sure that no water is going to spill in, and I just went and folded over here. Want to make sure that when to the area that is going to be covered here is going to be in the outside of the shower. So yeah, the same thing in this corner, a little patch over here. And here's a crucial thing. A lot of plumbers don't do this, and I don't know, maybe they just don't work with the tile, so they don't do the shower liner or shower bed. But you want to make sure that when you install this, before you put your screws, and these screws are the same type that I use over here, you want to make sure that you actually press this really well in all the areas, so you don't have this weird void on the corners. You want to make sure that you can compact everything really well. And there's a lot of mistakes sometimes, like you touch it like that, it's already tight. But if you see in this case, I left enough lack so you can actually have it nice and flush. So that's the tricky part over there. make sure that you do that. Now here in the middle I have the you know, for the I mean, you can probably see the screws here, and so I'm gonna go ahead and make a little mark and expose that. Then I'm gonna put some silicone inside so I can squeeze the new flange on top and fasten it with the wrench. The next thing that you want to do when you're doing this shower base is to obviously put the concrete bed. But a cool, easy trick, if you notice over there, I made some marks. The marks is the thickness of this 2x4 that is here, which is 1.5 inches. And then over here on the bottom, what I'm doing is that I want to obviously have the water draining towards it. And if you notice, we have a 1/4 inch difference here. That means that the perimeter is 1/4 inch higher than this, which is this inclination that I want to give. So I'm just gonna, you know, use this board over here, and I'm just gonna start making a nice perimeter of 1.5 inches, and then I start making the inclination towards the center, 2.25 inches. So it's pretty much straightforward, and then I'm gonna start compacting. Before you get to the drain section, you want to go ahead and put little pieces of gravel around, little stones, you know, around the perimeter, so you allow this thing to drain properly before you put your concrete bed around. So that's something that is recommended. Sometimes you have this kind of pre-made drain type of things that you can actually get some sort of like a sleeve that you put over there, so you have some grooves where the water can actually drain. So you know, as long as you leave a little bit of a space for the water finally to drain inside, you're okay. So let's continue packing the cement around where we had the perimeter. Finally, we have the bed made. It is really crucial for you to make sure that it's as level as possible. For that, I use a mixture that it was not too wet. It was wet, but enough for us to compact the material really well. As you saw, we put the perimeter first, and then we did the center towards the drain. So I left a little lip about 3/8 of an inch, and the reason is that the mosaics that I'm going to install are about that thickness. As you can see, the level is always towards the drain, and it's true for all the areas. And this is a crucial part because you want to make sure that in the bottom is nice and flush and level, and yet you have, I mean, straight and level, but yet you have the inclination towards the center, towards the drain in this case. You know, just to kind of recap a little bit, you want to make sure that you put your pre-slope, the drain, properly installed, that you put your shower pan and you actually fasten the shower pan with enough slack so you can actually compact this really well and can be nice and straight in the back. And you also want to make sure that in these corners, which I'm going to do, you know, later, I was concentrating on this, you cover all these little corners and make sure that they are nice and waterproofed. And also that you take the excess amount of cement from the corners. Sometimes that is an issue when you're going to put your concrete boards. You end up with a lot of excess material, and therefore it's like a big hole in the middle, and it will be the same situation for your ceramic tiles or your installation or whatever. It's going to give you some trouble. So now that is wet, you want to make sure and correct that. So with this, I leave you. I hope this video will help you to understand how to make your own shower beds, or shower beds, I would say shower bases. And that's it. So if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. If you are, thank you as always. I will bring as much material as I can, you know, as I work in my own project. So have a good day and success with your projects.